What's going on, guys? Jerry Trades here. So all of my videos that you guys have been seeing, I hope you guys have been enjoying them. It's more just of my personal life, just documenting my own personal development, because really, we're all growing older, man. Like it's something that you're learning. It's and adapting to new ways, pushing yourself to the uncomfortable, and just growing more as an individual. It's tough to do all on your own. So I thought documenting and maybe building a community around it would be very interesting to see how it played out. So that's why I'm sharing it with you guys, and I hope you guys have been enjoying it. I hope that I align and resonate with a lot of you guys. But today is a video that I really wanted to share with you guys because I believe it's important. Why? Because I know life isn't all rainbows and sunshine. When I was growing up or bringing up, I never was taught money. I was never taught, how to invest, how to take care of my money, how to build small businesses, how to even think about, the opportunities that life had for us. And it was difficult for me, and it was something that, I had to grow into and just experience and get a little bit uncomfortable little by little, but it's something that really changed my life. And it for sure made a better impact on me and the way I think. And wow, I have more hope now. So it's something that I want to share with you guys. And I think it's, really important that all of you guys get to experience this same thought process and hopefully have a little bit of guidance like I didn't have. And I'm gonna share it with you guys simply because it helped my life. And maybe if it helped my life, it might help yours. I wish you guys the very best in this journey. I know we all start differently and we for sure all end differently. But I think that, as a collaborative effort, once you build a team, it's easier to win, man. So I want to give you guys what I can to help you guys succeed, because I know how it is out here and it's really difficult to find a lot of, good guidance and I guess you can say influences. It's hard to really get, someone to really get the derecha la mano that wants to help you. So I really want to make this video to hopefully provide as much value as I can to you guys. And well, let's get on into it with you guys, because a lot of people have been inquiring with me about, learning how to invest, learning how to trade. And it's something that is really important to take into effect. And it's really something to step into at a young age, because you start to develop your mind more, develop more as an individual, to exposing yourself to developing the habit of not necessarily spending your money, but actually learning how to make more money with your money. So then you are learning how to invest. And it's, a really unique experience for any human that is, getting into the world of investing. Most people, really almost 90% of individuals are only taught how to make money and spend money, and if you're lucky, save money. But even then, not everyone's good at saving. So, there's a huge problem with, individuals and their financial habits. There's nothing much you can really do about it. Everyone's different. Everyone's, mentally conditioned and whatever it is that they believe in to treat their money differently. So as you develop and you grow older, you understand, at least as you grow older into an independent adult. If you're just growing older and still being supported by your parents and maybe just other help, it's not going to necessarily push you to develop more and understand money. So I believe understanding money and the pursuit of investing and building more of a cushion for yourself comes with, a little bit of life challenges, maybe struggles to meet those basic necessities that one needs to survive. Maybe like a home, a car, food. I think that's when the mind begins to really ask itself, how important is money to me, and how do I make more of this stuff? So it's a really unique experience for everyone. I believe everyone approaches the world of money differently, but what I can, find as an even ballpark for all of us, I think we all agree that money is significantly important in our lives. Even if you don't think it is everything, unfortunately, money always is some way, somehow on your mind if you're living in modern day society. So it's a really important, skill to practice and learn how to invest, learn how to, protect, grow your money, and develop proper financial habits to build not only financial security for yourself, but maybe also give you the ability to provide more for your family, provide more for your children, provide more for your parents that, you know, might be getting older, or maybe just experience more of life on your own. You know, me, as you guys can see, purchasing, you know, maybe not necessarily my dream car, but a car that I've always desired made me really happy. So these are like different things that, you know, sure are kind of materialistic, but they can, I guess, add more of an experience to your life. So now that you understand this, it's important for you to kind of ask yourself, how do I get into investing and learning it? And well, like I said, it's really a journey for everyone else, but it's important that you guys start. So really how you begin is first understanding your current situation. You have to know how much money it is that you're making. So that's why you've heard me mention a little bit in all my other videos kind of about personal finance. Personal finance is just a fancy word for saying, how do I manage my money management. So they mean the same exact thing. Now that you understand this, well, whatever income you have, you know, a lot of people have a fixed income. What is a fixed income? It means that they have a job, and this job is giving them, you know, checks bi-weekly or monthly, whatever it may be, or even just weekly. And every time they receive the check, it's the money that they have to budget themselves and use to cover basic necessities, pay responsibilities, bills, cars, insurance, provide for their kids, provide for their parents, whatever it is. This is the money that they use to provide for what they need. Now, other individuals have, you know, like a side income, more like a business. You know, it doesn't have to be a huge corporation. It could just be a small, you know, lawn care service. You know, I know girls get into eyelashes, nails, guys cut hair, tattoo artists. There's a list of different, you know, occupations that you can use as more of a service-based, maybe even product-based business compared to working a job where you're exchanging, you know, time for money and not a product or service. And then there's people that have kind of developed a little better. I wouldn't say better because, you know, of course you can scale a business to cover both incomes, but I believe while you're figuring out your business side, this is a really important part. You know, it's always important to kind of have something on the back end with yourself. It's called having multiple income streams. So when you're building yourself up, you want to have your job, and that's like your stepping stone, your backbone, whatever. You can fall on it. You're guaranteed it as long as you showed up and you continue to put in, you know, what you have. You do what you have to do. Now, you have your job, but you have to think of like a little bit of a side hustle or a side project, something that you want to create into the world to share with others and sell, whether a product or service are typically the only forms of business that you can have. So that's when you want to, you know, get into these different incomes. So you have your job, so as long as you show up, and then you have your side income, which, you know, for others is like cutting hair. Like I listed the other ones, some people start like clothing brands, some people, you know, I know a massage therapist is a good one on the side. There's different, you know, I told you, man, there's so many occupations, you can literally get lost in them. But it's important to structure yourself this way. You know, if you're getting into your job, then you want to get into a little side business, product or services. While this business of selling products and services is developing the income to cover your fixed income, so then you could jump to go full-time into your small business of products or services. And then as you are investing the same amount of time that you were investing in your job into your small business selling product or services, then the same 8 hours can now maybe even make you more than what you were making at the fixed income job in the same amount of time, depending on your, you know, your scalability, your customer outreach, your, you know, your rate of production, your rate of sales. There's, you know, a lot of different factors that as an individual you can control more selling product or services than just working a job with a fixed income. So now that you guys know this, you know, you understand level 1, you know how to take level 1 to get into level 2, and you know how to use your time in level 2 to replace level 1. And then I think, you know, as you get into level 3, that is when you step into investing. You know, investing is wide and huge. But what I did want to add is, you know, if your job, this is important, right, guys? Because life is really like, yes, money is a very important part of life, unfortunately. Trust me, it's very unfortunate because I think money is stopping a lot of people from discovering what they really, you know, money, the need for money stops a lot of people for discovering more like their life's purpose, what truly makes them happy, you know, what is it that they really want to dedicate their lives to. And it just kind of builds this stress and kind of, you know, anxiety. You have a lot of mental health issues nowadays. So like this kind of necessity for money really does impact a lot of people. And this is why I believe in what we're doing here and sharing this knowledge and teaching you guys. So I really hope you guys pay attention to this video because I want to actually help. Why? Because this is the system of thoughts and actions and things that I put into effect, you know, in my experience with life, and it has allowed me to provide for myself independently and help others and just grow as an individual far past what I ever thought was possible, far past than, you know, what I probably would have done if I would have kept surrounding myself with, you know, individuals that I grew up in high school with that, you know, they just want to live off their parents. They're okay with their parents doing a lot of the footwork. So instead of them using that as support for them to better secure themselves, they use it more as support for them to just have fun and experience more life early on than to really take purpose into something big to, you know, now to separate themselves independently and begin to funnel money back into them. So yeah, it's really important who you hang around with, but let's get back into level 1, level 2, and getting into maybe level 3, which is now investing. So I had to stop myself there because before we get into level 3, I was mentioning this. Life is really about, you know, being happy. And I got into how money and necessities affect people, you know, being kind of happy. So if your job makes you happy and it's truly something you enjoy, don't look at it like this bad thing. You know, it's okay to get active, move, socialize with your coworkers if you have a positive work environment. Great. Now, if your job is not making you happy and it's not something that you feel fulfilling or something that you can use for resources to grow or network or tell people about your small business, well then maybe you should prioritize more level 2 and maybe you should prioritize using level 1 to get into level 2 as a stepping stone and focus on leaving level 1. Now, like I said, if it is making you happy, try to keep it in the circle. You know, it's going to be a little bit of a consumption of time, but I believe as you progress and you are finding your job to be resourceful to your second level 2, your business, I think that's going to help convert a lot nicely and just overall mental health, you know, your own direction of life a lot better if it genuinely makes you happy. Because I'm telling you one thing, like, money's cool and all, experiences, but nothing puts a price on happiness, and that's something that's either in you or you have to find by adapting to your environment and changing your circumstances. It's a true journey. Yeah, that's a whole different topic of its own. But let's get into level 2, level 3. Level 2, now you have your small business. Let's say your job makes you happy. Now you have level 1, you have level 2, you're at 2 income streams. Great, you're killing it. Now maybe let's say you have level 2, but you're making, you know, the same as you would have made if you had level 1 as well. Great, you're killing it just as much. You guys are doing phenomenal, and this is where you want to be, especially approaching your early 20s. You know, your first business doesn't have to be a major success. That's something that I want to add. I feel like a lot of people invest a lot of time into business models just to keep them alive, to fulfill their purpose. But sometimes there's other business models that maybe you gotta, you know, try, experience, step back. Let me try something new, you know? Switch it up, but never give up, because that's important. Make that a really important quote. Switch it up, but never give up, because that skill set of selling products and services and providing that for people is inexpensive. It's probably the most valuable thing you can have as an individual, because if you haven't realized it, you're really kind of all on your own at the end of the day. You know, you have to have this skill set to survive in modern economy, to be able to make transactions, to approach individuals, build that trust, build some sort of credibility, and make new relationships to better yourself and hopefully better individuals and provide value into the world. Not, you know, you don't always just want to take, you want to, you know, provide value. So when I'm getting into this, it's important for you guys to kind of like sit back and think, all right, what is it that I like? How can I do something that I like and pursue it? And then, you know, as it converts into income, do it. But, you know, always be careful with your time. A lot of people, you know, I'm not gonna, you know, it's very, very like, it's a really defined line, because if you put the right time into a business that isn't successful, of course, you know, I don't want you guys to expect instant gratification from your business. Don't do that either. But let me give you guys an example, my experience. So when I was detailing cars, which is my first small business, You know, I had my 2010 Prius. I was washing cars for about 40 bucks, 45 bucks, SUVs for 60, 70. And before this, my level 1 job was at a warehouse paying me 25 an hour. Now, when I saved up the money and I was financially responsible, I was learning to make myself independent. That's when I saved all my hard-earned money, went into level 2. And with level 2, I then changed the value of my hour from $25 to like 40. If I got an SUV, 70, a truck, maybe 80, or sometimes I'll get an SUV and a truck, or I'll get an SUV and a car, vice versa. The combinations were endless, but essentially I was making more than my original 25 an hour, therefore allowing me to focus more on converting on level 2 to continue this increase in hourly income, to use my hours more effectively to make more money on level 2, because level 1 wasn't making me happy. Now, if I had level 1 that was making me happy paying $25 an hour and I genuinely enjoyed the environment, probably a different story. But I didn't have that situation. And if you are in that situation as well, you got to take it slow and figure out your level 2. It takes time, but it's not impossible. Remember that. So this is what I mean about investing too much time into the wrong business. Now, when I was at level 2, I was washing cars and I got blessed with the opportunity to work on a McLaren 720S, something that I shared in one of my previous videos. And then I kind of got flicked in the head. That's when I was like, there's no way. You know, I'm washing this car for I actually washed that one for like $50. So it was a higher end car. Still a really good price. But long story short, I, was afraid to even touch this car because I knew how much this was. I'm a car enthusiast myself. I love supercars. A McLaren 720S sits around maybe $230,000 to around $270,000. Yes, $270,000 for a car. That has to hit, someone some way in the head, man. Why? Well, of course, beautiful car, congratulations to him, right? But then again, it kind of, in my brain at least, it flipped the reality to think, man, like what I'm experienced, what I'm used to, what my parents taught me, like I'm probably never gonna see this car. Like it just, the teachings, they didn't align with being able to, they didn't give me the instructions to learn how to acquire this thing. And it was something I desired. Like I love cars. Like this was something that I had to see, believe, and then like ask myself how. And that's when I got into like, okay, you know what? I got to step it up. And that's when that's when I started investing more time into investing in trading. Because trading, I looked at trading like replacing my level 2 and me just focusing on level 3. And then as I became better at trader and it became my full-time occupation, then I looked at the ability to step back into level 2 by teaching other individuals and helping people, because it's something that not everyone knows, but it helps everyone that learns it. I guarantee it, because even if you lose money, you have a skill set that you know on how to make it back. This is extremely valuable, especially once you realize how important money is. But long story short, I made this realization and I realized that there was more money to make in shorter amount of time, so I adapted, I flipped. I went from washing cars to becoming a full-time trader, using my profits from trading to invest, to secure something for my long-term future. And boom, now I developed level 3, but then I found the opportunity in teaching people step back to level 2. So boom, sometimes you go up in the levels and you might have to come back down into one or go into level 3 or level 2, depending on which one's making you more money, so you can start to become more productive and useful with your time than just being at level 1 on a fixed income job. So, there's this, trust me, extremely complex, bro, extremely complex. It's going to impact every individual mind differently, but this is my perspective and it helped me, so I'm only sharing it because I believe it can help you. So now that you're at level 3, let's say you are at level 1, level 2, check, or you're at level 2, you have enough income from level 1. We're moving kind of fast, but stay with me. So you have this income, now you want to learn how to invest it. Don't get into trading. Like trading is great, but it's not the first step, and I give this advice to all of my clients. Investing is a long-term game. This is something that instead of buying that $100 pair of shoes or that nice t-shirt, or girls that nice handbag, guys that expensive cologne, that nice hat, getting a nicer car, or paying another $300-400 above your current car payment to just have a nicer car. Maybe buying that gold chain, girls, those earrings, getting your hair done. Maybe hair done's more, it's hygiene, let's step it back. But essentially, expenses and liabilities that in time are not going to gain any value, and in 6 to 12 months, you're probably going to get tired of them either way. So now that you know this, instead of, practicing those negative financial habits, learn to be grateful with what you currently have, enjoy it, but learn how to invest that money that you would have spent on new things that won't gain value in 6 to 12 months to just invest it into things that do. So what do we call these investments? Well, when you invest money into something that makes you money, it's called an asset. And when you invest money into something that doesn't make you money, it's called a liability. Assets make you money, liabilities don't make you money, but they both cost you money. Make sure that clicks in your head. If you're taking notes, write that down. Now, your goal as an individual, especially in a modern day economy or society, you want to acquire assets because you want your money to work for you. And if you acquire liabilities, well, then your money's not growing. So essentially you're working for money just for liabilities. But I agree with enjoying, a nice pair of shoes, reward yourself. But listen to this. It's a waiting game. You have to build the assets to be able to get the income from the assets to pay for the liabilities. So instead of going like money, liabilities, money, you're going from money, investments, liabilities, and the money is always going into assets or investments, money into liabilities. So even if you're not, growing your investment side or asset side from this to this to this, you're still keeping it like this, but the income generating from this little small circle is able to cover your liabilities from here. Now, as you maybe get more money, you might be tempted to increase your liability income and then maybe make your investments smaller. And this is where discipline comes into play. Discipline comes into play when you begin to understand that the more that you invest or build, the more assets that you acquire, the more you make. Therefore, if you just wait a little bit longer, or you increase your income opportunities using level 2 or level 3, maybe even level 1, depending on what occupation you have, you therefore can make more investments and speed up the entire thing, where the time horizon isn't the traditional form of what we are taught, at least what I was taught. Let me kind of, set the background of what was expected from my development and how I began to perceive the world. I was taught, go to school, work a job, go to school, get your car, not your dream car, but get a job, get a car so you could drive to the job, and then go to school so you could use the school to get a better job, and then buy a house, pay off the house, and then you're done. Live your life, travel, do what you want, wait till you pay off the house. That was literally what I was taught. That's what I was exposed to. That was essentially the blueprint. They never said, get a job, build a business, invest your money, use your investment monies to buy a house, and then compound maybe your business and your investments to pay off the house quicker, and then explore. I didn't even give you guys the age expectations for all of these. Get a job when you're 18, get a car when you're like 19, 20, go to school when you're 20, 21, or even right out of high school in 18 to 20, and then right after that, get the house, pay off the house once you're 40, 50. And that's something that didn't align with me. Why? Because I was exposed to a different world, and that's when everything kind of, began to fall into me. Like I said earlier, the teachings and the instructions, the blueprint that I was given was not the blueprint or the instructions that was going to teach me how to acquire a better life, a more independent life, one that I can actually enjoy and just be more thankful for. And that's when, you gotta learn, you gotta adapt, you have to grow. You can't stay in that same position with those same instructions. It's difficult, it's uncomfortable, I completely understand, but it's something that it has to be done, it has to be changed. It's called developing as an independent individual. There's a point in your life where it happened to me in my 20s where you realize there's a lot of things wrong with the world. And you can either choose to adapt to them and think that that's the normal, or you can do something about it and change them and make the new normal. for not just yourself, but for the people you bring into this world. Teach them a better way. Teach them the mindset of opportunity. Teach them hope. Teach them what it takes, you know? And man, this is a lot deeper than just a video I'm posting on YouTube, you know? This is really like life-changing stuff if you really pay attention to it and know how to apply it, you know? Like, this is the blueprint, this is instructions, and not a lot of people get this stuff. And they're then brought up into society, you know, with different things from social media and etc., you know, influencing them to think differently and not necessarily make, you know, the proper progress or the proper guidance that they should be having to progress and become individual adults, and even maybe help take care of their parents, provide better lives for their kids, and better the economy, better society. So, you know, it's huge, bro. And it takes time, but I'm going to, you know, essentially guide you guys through what it is I know, so hopefully it helps you. I'm going to take a little bit, pretty much how to invest your money and kind of thinking about the mindset you want to have when investing. So like I said, I'm going to share with you guys everything it is that I know about investing and what areas I had the most growth in, because there's different assets that you can invest into as an individual. You know, you have gold, you have real estate, now cryptocurrency, stocks, you know, there's mutual funds, mutual bonds, man, yeah, there's a variety of them, you know, maybe even, yeah, it's super in-depth, right? But I can only share with you guys what I have experience in. So although there's plenty of asset classes to invest in, I'm going to teach you guys about how I found success using the stock market. And well, that's, you know, something that I value and I think should be able to help you guys. So first things first, you know, I've always kind of told you guys about investing first. Investing is, you know, pretty self-explanatory. A lot of people have the right idea about what it means to invest, and it's true. It's a long-term game. You know, using the stock market, you're going to buy shares of companies that are valued at X amount right now, and with the right psychology and research behind them that you expect the growth, that's how you then begin to make money and make money work for you by buying assets, which are shares in the stock market. I love this approach. Why? Because a lot of people don't approach the stock market because they're afraid to lose money. And I agree, it's very scary, very intimidating. But as soon as you begin to invest in shares, you kind of develop your psychology to understand it's a long-term game. So it's not a 6 to maybe 12-month return, more of like a 3 to 5 year return. And this is important for the mind's experience into investing because there's positive reinforcement. Therefore, you know that the money isn't going to disappear, but you know that it's going to grow over time if you're purchasing the right assets. And purchasing the right assets simply just involves you doing research and also kind of understanding the futures of a lot of companies that you're investing into. That's something that I cover in my beginners class to, you know, investing in trading, and use SoCal Trading Group to better share knowledge about how to approach that. And if it's something you're interested in, well, that we offer weekly classes where we help individuals build their psychology around investing and how to do the proper research into making sure they're investing in the right companies. So once you begin to, you know, understand this long-term investment, it gives your mind positive reinforcement, because although you lose money in a short period of time, you immediately have that reinforcement to tell yourself, I can make the money later on. Meaning that it's down right now, but it's going to come back up in 3 to 5 years to come. Therefore, pushing yourself to continue investing. Compared to trading, you invest this money, your expiration date on these contracts doesn't, you know, make you profits, and you lost this money and it's not growing for you. It expired as soon as that expiration date expired. So that's a big difference right there. And that's when you want to get into, okay, like, all right, maybe he's right, you know, let me start investing. And that's what I advise all my clients to do, is to start investing. And just anyone coming up in the world, bro, like, start investing, because it's gonna not scare you away from making money work for you. A lot of people have money in their savings. Your savings isn't growing in value, bro. It's like, you know, just getting paid out at a 0.01% by the banks, and that's what it costs. You know, it's not compounding, it's not growing any value over the 3 to 5 years. You know, $100 invested compared to $100 in a savings account, in 3 to 5 years, the $100 invested is going to grow way more than the $100 in the savings account. So this is when you begin to develop your mind and understand the concept of investing. And I think it's really important for you guys to start, and it helped me in my life. So that's what I share with you guys. And dude, it's just about helping people, you know, like, I remember, you know, being lost, you know, just seeing everyone else making money, and I wanted to get my piece of the pie. You know, man, never thought it'd be possible. I had my doubts. I thought it was a scam. There was a lot of, you know, different approaches. I actually did get scammed, and yeah, that was a real effed up experience. But other than that, it did work out in my favor. I have a skill set and knowledge that really does help me, and now I can help others. So I really do believe in this message, and I wanted to share it with you guys because it's helped me become who I am today and be able to provide the value and have a better outlook on my life compared to where I was just a few years ago. So other than that, that ends the video. I hope this is, you know, helpful to help you guys build a blueprint around maybe establishing something in your early 20s. And as you guys grow older, you become more and more independent, and hopefully we can all, you know, live a happy life and provide for our families. Like, that's literally all the goal, man. So love all you guys, man. Thank you guys for watching it this far. If you guys loved the video or liked it, man, leave a like and comment down below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure to subscribe over here. Jerry Trades, over and out.